What would you do if you were singled out by your own roommates, held to a standard that no one else had to follow? In today's story, the protagonist is hit with a grossly unfair rule, and his response is a masterclass in petty, righteous vindication. I live in an apartment with 3 other people, and for the most part, we get along great. There's my childhood best friend, Chloe, who's 23, a guy from my college course, Sam, who's my age, 20, and his older cousin, Vanessa, who is 26. We rarely have disagreements, but a recent incident has thrown our peaceful dynamic into chaos. About 6 months ago, I started a relationship with a guy I've known for a couple of years, Mark. He's 21, and I'm serious about him. He makes me incredibly happy. Up until recently, he would visit me at my apartment 3 to 4 times a week. This was mainly because I suffer from chronic fatigue syndrome, which makes going on proper dates a real challenge for me. So instead of going out to a movie or for dinner, we'd usually just chill in my room or the living room, watch TV, and get takeout or cook together. I never really consulted anyone about this for 2 main reasons. First, all the other roommates have their partners over just as often, if not more. Second, Mark rarely spends the night and usually leaves before 10 p.m. because of his work schedule. I thought it was a non-issue. I was wrong. The confrontation I never saw coming happened 2 weeks ago. I was in the kitchen when Vanessa walked in, her arms crossed and her expression sour. "Leo," she said, her voice flat. "We need to talk about Mark." I asked her what the problem was, and she said it was irritating to have someone who doesn't live there skulking around all the time. I immediately pointed out that her boyfriend, Derek, sleeps over 3 nights a week, meaning he's technically here more often than mine is. She claimed that was different because they'd been together for 11 years and planned to move in together once our lease is up. She then dropped the bomb. She said she'd discussed it with Chloe and Sam, and they all agreed that Mark had to either stop coming over or start chipping in for rent because his presence was getting ridiculous. Vanessa delivered this demand with an air of finality, completely unaware that this one-sided rule would blow up in her face and turn her own home into a battleground. I was stunned. Just to be clear, nobody else's partner chips in on the rent. I went to talk to my other 2 roommates and confirmed it. Yes, they had agreed. However, my best friend, Chloe, admitted that Vanessa had basically forced her to agree by threatening to cut off the Wi-Fi and utilities, which are all in Vanessa's name. This single act of blackmail revealed Vanessa's greatest flaw, her belief that she could control everyone through intimidation, a belief that was about to be seriously challenged. I asked them if this new no partners without rent rule applied to everyone. Apparently, it was just for me. I was told it was unfair and was basically told to just deal with it. I also tried to understand why they disliked Mark. I asked Vanessa if he did something specific to annoy her, but all I got was a shrug and a dismissive, "I just do." It felt personal and targeted, and as one person later commented on my story, "Unless there's something that isn't being disclosed on why they feel he's overstaying his welcome, without there being a specific reason why, it doesn't make sense why you're getting specifically targeted by this rule." Another commenter raised a crucial point I had been wondering about myself. Since my boyfriend and I are in a same-sex relationship, while my roommates are in heterosexual ones, they asked, "Are your roommates in heterosexual relationships? Because if so, I smell some major homophobia." Vanessa had never had a problem with any female partners I'd had in the past, which only made this feel more pointed. I knew I was being treated unfairly. I knew they were being hypocrites. So, I decided if they wanted to play by ridiculous rules, I would be the one to enforce them on everyone. My petty campaign began immediately. I decided that if my partner wasn't allowed over, then no one else's was either. The very next evening, the doorbell rang. I got to it first. Peeking through the peephole, I saw it was Derek, Vanessa's boyfriend, holding a pizza. Perfect. I swung the door open, putting on my most apologetic, yet firm, expression. "Hey Derek," I said. He smiled. "Hey Leo, is Vanessa around?" I shook my head slowly. "Sorry, man. We're not having partners who don't pay rent over anymore. New house rule." I watched his smile vanish, replaced by utter confusion. He just stood there, holding the pizza, as I gently closed the door in his face. The satisfaction was immediate. If I came home from class and saw Sam's girlfriend on the couch, I'd make a big show of it. "Oh, hey," I'd say loudly. I thought we weren't having partners who don't pay rent over anymore. Did you start chipping in for utilities? The awkward silence that followed was music to my ears. My favorite target, of course, was Derek. Whenever I saw him, I'd grill him. Hey Derek, how much rent are you paying these days? When he'd inevitably say he wasn't, I'd feign shock. What? But Vanessa was so insistent that anyone skulking around had to contribute. That's so strange, she'd make an exception for you. The tension in the apartment became thick enough to cut with a knife. Everyone is furious with me. They're telling me I'm being unreasonable and petty. And I know I am being petty. But I also believe it's completely unreasonable for them to create one rule for me and another for themselves. I'm simply making them live with the consequences of their own hypocrisy. In the end, this whole situation boils down to a simple principle: fairness. You can't create a special set of rules for one person just because it's convenient for you and expect them to simply accept it. So, what do you think? Was my petty revenge justified in the face of such blatant hypocrisy? Or did I take it too far and just make a bad situation worse? Let me know in the comments below.